California's housing bubble isn't just cracking in 2025, it's bursting wide open. Across the Golden State, home prices that once felt unstoppable are colliding with harsh economic reality. The median California home now sits near $760,000, yet the state's median household income lingers at just $91,000. In some cities, buyers face monthly mortgage bills of $6,000 to $9,000, devouring entire paychecks. Inventory is swelling, price cuts are accelerating, and once hot markets are turning into financial minefields. Here is the 10 worst California cities where buying a home in 2025 could be your biggest mistake. Number 10. Hayward. Hayward, often branded as the affordable East Bay, has now become one of the biggest housing traps in California. In 2025, the median home price hovers around $865,000, but here's the jaw-dropper. 5 years ago, that same home sold for just $630,000. That's a staggering $235,000 jump in value, even while local wages have flatlined at an average household income of just $92,000 a year. To comfortably buy today, experts estimate you'd need closer to $190,000 annually, more than double what the average Hayward family earns. A standard 30-year mortgage at today's 6.8% rate means your payment on a median home is about $5,200 a month. Property taxes in Alameda County tack on another $900, while insurance adds roughly $300 to $400. Altogether, you're staring at a housing bill of nearly $6,500 every single month. That's $78,000 a year just to keep a roof over your head. To put that into perspective, housing in Hayward alone can devour 85% of the city's median household income. Renters fare no better. A modest two-bedroom averages $2,700 a month, which eats up 35% of the typical household's gross income before factoring utilities or transportation. And unlike high-cost Silicon Valley suburbs, Hayward doesn't even deliver luxury for these prices. Commutes to San Francisco or Oakland can easily stretch past an hour in traffic. Violent crime rates are higher than state averages, and infrastructure struggles under population growth. What makes Hayward truly shocking is that you're paying nearly Bay Area-level prices without Bay Area-level amenities. Families are stuck. Buying means financial suffocation, renting means constant stress, and leaving is becoming the only logical option. Hayward is a textbook example of California's housing bubble at its ugliest. Number 9. Salinas. Salinas, the so-called salad bowl of the world, has gone from farmland affordability to full-blown housing disaster. In 2025, the median home price here sits at about $720,000. A staggering figure when you consider that the median household income in Salinas is just $73,000 a year. That means home prices are nearly 10 times the local income, one of the most unsustainable ratios in the entire state. To actually qualify for a median home, a family would need to pull in over $160,000 annually, more than double what locals earn. A standard 30-year loan at today's 6.9% interest rate pushes the monthly mortgage payment to $4,400, and with Monterey County's property taxes and insurance, the real bill climbs above $5,300 per month. That's $64,000 a year, almost as much as the average resident makes before taxes. Renters are just as cornered. A basic two-bedroom costs over $2,600 a month, which devours more than 40% of median income. What makes Salinas especially shocking is the disconnect between cost and reality. This is not San Diego or San Francisco. It's a farming hub with crime rates higher than the state average, schools struggling to keep pace, and a local economy still heavily dependent on agriculture. Yet buyers here pay coastal California prices for inland living. Many families are forced into overcrowded homes, with 3 or 4 households under one roof, just to afford the mortgage. Salinas exposes the insanity of California's housing bubble: homes priced like they're in Silicon Valley, wages stuck in farmtown reality, and costs so crushing that the American dream feels like a cruel joke. Number 8. Mendocino. Mendocino is the kind of place travel magazines gush about: rugged cliffs, misty redwoods, and oceanfront cottages. But behind the postcard image lies one of California's most shocking housing bubbles. The median home price here in 2025 is around $950,000, despite the fact that the county's median household income is barely $63,000 a year. That's a 15-to-1 price-to-income ratio, among the worst in the nation. A 30-year mortgage on a typical Mendocino home runs nearly $5,800 a month, and once you add property taxes and coastal insurance, often above $400 monthly, due to fire and storm risks, the true monthly cost surges past $6,700. That's more than $80,000 a year just to own a house in a county where the average worker makes less than that annually. Rentals are equally devastating. A two-bedroom in Mendocino now averages about $2,900, consuming 55% of the local average income. For young families, the choice is stark: leave the coast or live permanently rent-burdened. And unlike metro areas with booming industries, Mendocino offers few high-paying jobs to offset the costs. Hospitality, small business, and agriculture dominate the economy. The cruel twist? Much of the housing stock is snapped up by wealthy Bay Area second home buyers and Airbnb investors, pushing locals out. Entire neighborhoods sit half-empty during the week, while working families commute longer distances inland just to find something remotely affordable. Meanwhile, wildfire insurance premiums in rural zones are skyrocketing, with some policies climbing past $6,000 annually. Mendocino is the definition of a bubble gone wild. Breathtaking landscapes masking brutal inequality, homes priced for outsiders, and locals slowly squeezed out of their own paradise. Number 7. Long Beach. Long Beach was once billed as Los Angeles County's affordable coastal alternative. That dream has collapsed in 2025. The median home price here now sits at roughly $880,000, up from around $640,000 just 5 years ago. A brutal $240,000 surge that has completely outpaced local incomes. The median household income is only $82,000 a year, meaning buyers face a price-to-income ratio of more than 10-to-1. To realistically purchase a median-priced home, lenders estimate families need at least $175,000 in annual income, more than double what most residents earn. At today's 6.9% mortgage rates, a standard 30-year loan racks up $5,300 a month in payments. Add Los Angeles County property taxes, roughly $920 a month, plus homeowners insurance averaging $350, and you're staring at $6,500 monthly housing costs, nearly $78,000 annually just to live in Long Beach. That single bill equals 95% of the city's median household income. Renters are suffocating too. A two-bedroom now averages $2,900, eating up over 42% of household earnings, far above the recommended 30% threshold. Families are forced into overcrowded apartments or pushed farther inland into cheaper but less safe neighborhoods. What makes Long Beach's bubble especially shocking is the trade-off. Crime rates remain stubbornly high. Homelessness is visible in major corridors, and infrastructure struggles with constant congestion. Yet home buyers are paying luxury-level costs without luxury-level amenities. Investors and short-term rental owners have also warped the market, snapping up inventory and driving up prices, leaving locals priced out of their own city. In Long Beach, the housing bubble is painfully clear. Astronomical costs, stagnant wages, and monthly bills that could wipe out nearly any middle-class household. It's not just unaffordable, it's financial quicksand. Number 6. San Luis Obispo. San Luis Obispo, often romanticized as the happiest city in America, has become one of California's most punishing housing markets in 2025. The median home price here is around $930,000, compared to just $690,000 5 years ago. That's a jump of $240,000 in half a decade, while the median household income sits at only $78,000 per year. This creates a staggering 12-to-1 price-to-income ratio, one of the highest in the state. To buy a median home, families would need incomes of $185,000 annually, more than twice what locals actually make. A 30-year mortgage at 6.9% means monthly payments of $5,600. Factor in San Luis Obispo County's property tax rate, about $970 a month, plus insurance costs topping $350 monthly, and the real bill soars to over $6,900 per month. That's $82,800 a year, more than the entire annual income of most local families. Even professionals with stable careers find themselves priced completely out. The rental market offers no escape. A modest two-bedroom averages $3,000 a month, which is nearly 46% of median household income. Students from Cal Poly crowd the limited rental supply, driving up rents even further and leaving longtime residents struggling to compete. What makes San Luis Obispo especially shocking is that it's not a tech hub or an international finance center. It's a small Central Coast city where the economy revolves around agriculture, tourism, and education. Yet locals pay Silicon Valley-style housing costs without Silicon Valley wages. Wildfire risks and rising insurance premiums add another financial threat, with some homeowners now paying over $5,000 annually just for coverage. San Luis Obispo is no longer happy. It's a nightmare market where housing costs crush incomes, families are displaced, and locals are priced out of their own hometown. Number 5. Santa Maria. Santa Maria, tucked in Santa Barbara County, looks like a quiet agricultural town, but don't be fooled. It's one of California's most deceptive housing markets in 2025. The median home price here has skyrocketed to around $670,000, even though the city's median household income barely reaches $72,000 a year. That's a 9-to-1 home price-to-income ratio, a staggering level of unaffordability for a city whose economy leans heavily on farming and service work. At current mortgage rates near 6.9%, a median Santa Maria home comes with a monthly mortgage of about $4,100. Add property taxes, $700, and insurance, $300 to $400, and you're staring at nearly $5,200 a month just to keep ownership afloat. That's $62,000 per year, almost the entire annual salary of the typical household. The math simply doesn't add up, leaving families financially strangled. Renters face no escape. The average two-bedroom now runs around $2,600 per month, eating more than 40% of income for most residents. Many families double up in cramped housing, with multiple generations squeezed under one roof. Others commute long distances to cheaper towns, sacrificing hours of daily life just to survive. The cruel twist is that Santa Maria doesn't offer big city perks to justify these prices. Crime rates remain higher than the California average, wages lag behind coastal metros, and opportunities for upward mobility are limited. Yet, homes here are priced like they belong in a booming tech corridor. Investors and out-of-area buyers snap up property, leaving locals locked out. Santa Maria reveals the raw insanity of California's housing bubble. Ordinary families are trapped in a market where wages whisper farm town, but home prices scream coastal luxury. Number 4. Oxnard. Oxnard, sitting on the Ventura County coast, has transformed from a working-class seaside city into a housing trap. In 2025, the median home price sits at about $760,000, while the median household income is only $81,000. That's a brutal 9.4 to 1 price-to-income ratio, making homeownership nearly impossible for locals. To buy here, a family realistically needs an annual income of $165,000, twice what the average Oxnard household earns. A 30-year mortgage at today's rates means a $4,600 monthly payment on a typical home. With Ventura County's property taxes, $800, and insurance, often over $400 due to fire and coastal risks, the total housing bill climbs past $5,800 a month. That's $70,000 a year in housing costs, devouring 85% of a local family's income. Rentals are no better. A two-bedroom apartment now averages $2,850 per month, consuming more than 42% of income. For working-class families employed in agriculture, retail, or port-related jobs, this means permanent financial stress. Many renters report living paycheck to paycheck, one missed payment away from eviction. What makes Oxnard shocking is the mismatch between perception and reality. Despite being marketed as a cheaper alternative to Malibu or Santa Barbara, Oxnard still battles high crime pockets, underfunded infrastructure, and wildfire risks from nearby hills. Yet home prices have been artificially inflated by investors and coastal demand. The city is a prime example of how California's housing bubble punishes ordinary residents. Locals are forced into overcrowded rentals, while wealthy buyers from Los Angeles scoop up beachside homes as vacation properties. Oxnard has priced its own workforce out of the community, turning the dream of coastal living into a crushing financial nightmare. Number 3. Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz has always been California's bohemian beach town, but in 2025 it's one of the state's most punishing places to buy a home. The median home price here is a shocking $1.15 million, while the median household income sits near $93,000. That's a 12-to-1 price-to-income ratio, making it virtually impossible for locals to buy. To qualify for a median home, you'd need about $220,000 a year, more than double the actual income of most residents. Mortgage costs on a typical Santa Cruz property reach $6,900 monthly, and with property taxes $450, the total bill nears $8,500 a month. That's over $100,000 annually, a staggering number that dwarfs local incomes. Rentals tell the same story. A two-bedroom now averages $3,400, eating up 44% of household income. And since Santa Cruz is home to UC Santa Cruz students, competition in the rental market is fierce, driving up prices even further. Many working families have no choice but to relocate inland, enduring long commutes back to the coast. The shocking part? Santa Cruz is not a major tech hub. It thrives on tourism, small business, and agriculture. Yet housing costs rival Silicon Valley itself. Wealthy Bay Area workers with remote jobs have flooded the market, outbidding locals and pushing inventory to crisis levels. Meanwhile, wildfire risks in nearby mountains and rising coastal insurance rates add another layer of financial danger. Santa Cruz may look like paradise on the surface, but for the average resident, it's turned into a housing nightmare with no exit. Number 2. San Jose. San Jose, the capital of Silicon Valley, has become the epicenter of California's housing insanity. In 2025, the median home price here sits at a jaw-dropping $1.6 million, making it one of the most expensive housing markets in the United States. The city's median household income is about $137,000, which sounds high, until you realize the price-to-income ratio here is 12-to-1. To actually afford a median-priced home under today's lending rules, you'd need an annual income of $320,000 or more, far above what most households bring in. The monthly mortgage on a standard San Jose home is around $9,600, and when you add Santa Clara County's property tax bill of about $1,600 plus insurance close to $500, the true monthly cost soars above $11,700. That's over $140,000 per year in housing expenses alone, more than the entire income of the typical family in the city. Renters get no relief. A modest two-bedroom apartment averages $3,900 a month, which consumes nearly 35% of the city's already high median income, and over 50% of many lower-income households. Tech workers with stock options can compete, but teachers, nurses, and service employees are forced into multi-hour commutes or into leaving the Bay Area entirely. What makes San Jose shocking is that the housing market is divorced from reality. Prices are driven by tech money, overseas investors, and chronic underbuilding, while regular residents are squeezed out. Even with tech layoffs hitting the region, home prices remain impossibly inflated. San Jose is no longer just expensive, it's financially hostile to anyone outside the top income bracket. Number 1. Oakland. Oakland once promised affordability compared to San Francisco, but in 2025, it's become a symbol of California's collapsing housing bubble. The median home price here is around $825,000, but that's actually down from its pandemic-era peak of nearly $900,000, a clear warning sign of a cooling market. With a median household income of just $91,000, the city still faces a brutal 9-to-1 price-to-income ratio. A 30-year mortgage on an average Oakland home runs about $4,900 per month, and with Alameda County's property tax, $860, and insurance, approximately $300, monthly costs climb past $6,000. That's $72,000 a year, almost 80% of the typical household's income. For many families, owning in Oakland is financial suicide. The rental market is equally punishing. A two-bedroom averages $2,900 a month, nearly 40% of the average household paycheck. And while costs remain crushing, Oakland is plagued with issues that make the price tag even more shocking. Violent crime rates more than double the national average, homelessness visible across downtown corridors, and an infrastructure still struggling from decades of neglect. The scariest part: inventory has begun rising as frustrated sellers flood the market. Price cuts are becoming common, with some listings slashed by $50,000 to $100,000 to attract buyers. That signals the bubble is not only real but actively deflating. Yet even in decline, the costs remain crushing for average residents. Oakland embodies the worst of California's housing crisis. Still unaffordable for the middle class, increasingly unattractive to investors, and teetering on the edge of a market correction that could turn brutal. It's the ultimate warning sign of a bubble bursting in real time,